Hey guys, welcome back to Kumsa Reviews. It's been a while, but between marriage and life itself, I had some cool stuff going on that kind of took me away from the fold for a while, but it is good to be back. And of course, what we're taking a look at is one that I really anticipated all throughout, I think since last year even, when it was announced, but this is Sentinel, the latest in their Metamor-Force line, God Gravion. So, the different components of God Gravion, because it is a combiner, kind of like Kaiser, if you're familiar with that. So, this is Grand Kaiser. Alright. So, these two, they're two individual jets, but one is the G Attacker, the other is the G Striker. They form the legs. There's no difference between the two toy-wise, so don't feel like if you buy this, you get them mixed up, blah, blah, blah. They're both the exact same thing and transform the same. So, this is I believe it's the G Stealth? No, it's the G Shadow, and this is the G Driller. So, really cool transformation to it and stuff like that, really quick and simple. I don't know if I'm going to transform this in this review yet. If not, there will be another transformation video because I'm filming it either way. Just time-wise, I don't know how I'm going to divide it, if that makes sense. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a spread of what's all included in the box, and yeah, just like normal, we'll get started with the review. Thank you guys for staying subscribed, and again, glad to be back. Just giving you guys a roundabout of all the separate pieces here. Here's Kaiser. There's Triller. G Shadow, and I bought mine from Ame, but what was really cool, I saw the Chosen Prime actually have this on pre-order as well, so I hope more American sites do start getting this stuff in. And here's the G Attacker, and Striker. So, the Grand Divas, which are the vehicles, they don't really do anything too super gimmicky. They don't have any of the inner vehicle combinations and things like that they do in the TV show. But the G Driller does separate because this is a co-piloted vehicle. And for the G Shadow, you can attach this piece that's for use when it's the boomerang and give it an attack mode, and it does lock in. It's just a friction thing, so should have left them separated. There you go. Alright, now I'm taking a look at Grand Kaiser. Honestly, it's aesthetically a kind of awkward looking piece. It's got the really wide hips going and things like that. More so than the TV show. It's still posable and things. And honestly, the biggest two complaints I have are the shoulder hinges. They're not in line with the shoulders themselves. So the shoulders are in here and the shoulder armor is up here. So completely different. So this is actually hindered by the shoulder armor, where on most modern toys in general, you kind of have the shoulder armor and then, you know, the arm kind of attached right underneath it or to it so that you can get some free flow. Now this does turn, but it kind of turns on its own accord, and it's pretty limited in what it can do, you know? So unless you want to do like that to get more movement, and I mean, that just, it looks goofy. So with that, we'll go ahead and take a look at the articulation. You saw what the shoulder armor can do. Up and down, it's just a ball joint on the head. Now, in both Grand Kaiser and the God Gravion modes, watch out for the side crusts on the side of the head. I haven't felt like they're going to break or anything like that. They're pretty solid, and they're good about just stopping when the shoulder armor blocks them. But if you feel like it can't, take a look at the shoulder armor, because if the shoulder armor blocks it, both are stiff to the point where there's just no movement. So don't force it until, you know, you do break it or anything like that. Alright, so that's the head articulation, up and down, full 360 range there. Oh, and just saw that blockage right there. So shoulder movement, we're going to move that out of the way just for the sake. It does have the ability to go, you know, all directions and things like that, but the shoulder armor blocks it. 360 bicep swivel. Now this is just really funny, all right? So they chose these wonky connections for the forearms to the elbow there. And they're like these T-joints, but they're really loose. So when you're bending at the elbow and stuff like that, you know, a lot of times the forearms will actually start to come out. So, yeah. I wish there was some kind of lock. So, because they do need to separate for the transformation. But there needs to be some kind of lock in place to hold these back. So that when you're articulating it, because the elbows are pretty stiff. They're good stiff. You know, but they're so stiff that when you're moving it, you know, it starts to come out the forearm. So just be wary of that, but it's what it is. Now the wrist, the hands just peg in. Now this forearm armor, it does kind of block it from wrist swivel. So if you feel like it's not going to go, it's easier, honestly, just to pull it out and put it back in. Oh. All right. So this actually does have real life waist swivel. So good 45 degrees on each side. It does have multi-level ab crunch right here as well as right here. So good amount there. There is movement in the skirt to allow for the hip articulation, and these hips are huge. Now I just noticed a scuffing right here. I'm gonna lick my thumb and see if that comes off. It does. It's just kind of weird from the black underneath there. First time I noticed that. But side, really strong die-cast hip joints as well. It seems like these hip joints are just what they're using now. They're the same as the Kaiser as well as the shin getter. All right, 360 hip swivel there, but you know, the hip armor, of course, and the crotch armor. But realistically, there you go. It does what it needs to do. Let's be real. All right, and it does pop out right there. I don't know if that's something, because I have a feeling when Soul Gravion comes out, which they're doing, it'll use a lot of the same mold, if it's because of that, but it's not anything necessary for this one's articulation. Now, double jointed knees, and it's cool that it has that bit of cover there as well. Decent ankle tilt. A little bit of movement there, so you can kind of work around that shin armor, and feet move down but not up. All right, so instead of getting too crazy, well, do an Iron Man pose, I guess. See if we can. I did it with God Gravion for the gallery, but didn't try it with him. His arms are a lot shorter, so yeah, it doesn't look as good with the shorter arms, but at least he, I guess, literally does it. Not bad. I've still got that turned as well. All right, we will convert this into kind of a walking pose. And really good balance. Die cast throughout the feet and hips and stuff like that. It's a good, sturdy figure. And Sentinel isn't exactly known for just gratuitous use of die cast and things like that. So it's nice to have a nice, just Goken feeling figure, if that makes sense. All right, so yeah, that looks great to me. Shit, one of the few times I haven't had to rotate or camera angle it. I wasn't even looking behind the lens. I like it. Good job, TJ. And before I move on to the transformation, I forgot to share that it does come with alternate open hands. Grand Kaiser really doesn't do the weapons thing, so it doesn't come with like weapon holding hands or anything like that, but basic open baby hands. And of course, one more thing. The forearm piece is here. If you want to give it a little bit of more of a beefy anime look, you know, we got that pelvis thrusted a little bit, but just that little extra zing there, and I love that they added this. Boom. They just flare out just a little bit, just to give them that forearm, like, bent-in look. It just looks freaking tough. I'll actually angle that a little bit so you can see it. Alright, now we can take a look at the combined God Gravion. And I'm sorry for not including the transformation after I filmed it. It was just too much for this, but I filmed it all, so I can do a whole separate video for it. And I mean, looks-wise, it looks good. But unfortunately, when it comes to the articulation aspect, it's limited by the same shoulder problems as Kaiser, as well as now, you know, it has the armor and stuff like that as well. So it's pretty cumbersome, but it's fun, it's good looking. You know, let's dig into it. So in terms of the head articulation, it has some up-down movement and stuff, but the side-to-side, a bit more limited because he has close up on the head and actually raise the camera up. Focus. He has that more extended chin. So when the head's down, it's not just the crest and things like that, it's the chin as well, which limits some of that movement, so it makes his head go up and down while you're trying to move it, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So some of the angles and stuff like that he can do, like right here, he has to look down when his head's turned. So, fairly limited. The arms, like I said, same problems, but shoulder articulation, same. 360 arm movement. He does have that rocket punch type attack. Oh jeez, where the arms come off. Just a little bit hard to see with all that going on the shoulders there, and even that's beautiful, man. Like that shoulder fill and stuff like that. It's a damn good looking piece. And all of the pieces for articulation are there, but god damn. Right, and technically double jointed elbows, but really doesn't go far past 90. The same waist articulation, I mean, you know, pretty much what you see is what you get. It's more cumbersome, but a lot is covered up. I'm just trying to see how it balances. This is the first time I've ever tried it. It seems like one of those ones to where if you find the right one, you can, but I'm not trying it. I'm not about to break this, not only on camera, but this isn't cheap, man. Alright, so like I said, same articulation points. Nothing's really blocked. You know, like I said, because he has the extended parts and longer arms, some stuff like an Iron Man pose is actually a bit easier. Which isn't always the case when it comes to big armored up modes and stuff like that. We'll pretty much just do the same thing. This side's forward, so get him into a walking pose here. And then we'll get him into some other poses, of course, when we look at the weapons in hands and stuff like that. But let's see. That's awkward. Not in a big rush or anything, so. I'm gonna bring the camera down some. And see, it's just that head tilt. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. See, to me, that's mean. I want to take this off the table and shoot a picture of this right now. I like it. Okay, now we get to look at some weapons here. So we'll start with the Graviton sword. It's pretty cool. The crest And the television show actually becomes a sword. So this chest piece right here, let's get this all removed. And it fills out perfectly. So before we put the end on the handle there, I'll actually find the correct hand for it. Slide it in. Alright. And it's the same peg system, but these are a lot thicker on the insides too, so really got to find the right angle and give it some force there, which is good because the hands stay on really, really well. Alright, well, I'm just pulling things apart. Alright, just something basic right there. Alright, that's the Graviton sword. And we're actually going to cheap out and just, do the same pose, but use the Graviton crescent. Figure out which side that actually comes off. So one thing that's important when reattaching the pieces of the crescent, one side is actually thicker than the other. The thicker side is the back side, so thinner side in front, then reattach it all. And this piece just unpegs from the chest plate. There we go. Slide that off. I'm just bringing the chest plate back down. Attach these two pieces. There's a part with like a lip in it that goes on the bottom, and you just put it in with friction. Alright, there we go. And then there's a little lip there, and the hands that are meant to hold it are these ones that almost look straight, and it slides in. It's a natural slide, so again, find the angle, use some force. Oof. There we go. Is that? Now his blasters, that just came out. Put that back in and that in. I actually have the hands already attached, so kind of cheating, but I suggest you do the same. Now these, when it comes to attaching the weapons, just so you know, the bottoms slide off and on. Don't want to leave you hanging in that aspect because I'm cheating. That. Now, the big boy sword. See if we can't pull this out ourselves. Okay. So the hands for this, pretty blatant. Ones with the big, huge kung fu grips. For that big, huge handle on it. There's that. Just got a... Alright, take a look at this bad boy. Huge. Taller than the figure itself. Alright. So, what we're gonna do... There's actually a really cool pose on the back there that we're gonna emulate. Make it easy. Alright. So this one's brought in. And of course, it's under over or over under, however you want to do it, but that's how it goes. And I'm actually gonna reattach the chest as well. Alright, so we're back at it. Got the other hand attached here too. And this one, it doesn't have the butterfly and shoulders that a lot of other Sentinel products do. So, there's some playing involved. I know, it is just as fun as it looks, I tell you. Make sure the feet are planted. Jeez. I was on the home stretch. No. Attach the end of that handle. All right. And boom, there we go. And again, this has been Sentinel, their Metamor-Force, God Gravion. Honestly, in terms of just what I'd rate it, playing around with it and stuff like that, I would have to say it's a solid 7.5 out of 10. Mostly because of the lack of articulation. The engineering's awesome, the look is awesome, the build is awesome, but it's just that limited articulation both on the Grand Kaiser and the, I guess, on the God Gravion level 2, which is to be expected, that just fall a little bit flat, you know? Now, during this review, the one thing I know I missed off the top of my head, it does come with his battle mask as well. Check out the full gallery on kumastyle.com. It's going to have pictures of that as well. It's as simple as snapping it on his face. But I feel like this is a good point to end it at. Again, kumastyle.com, full run review, as well as gallery. It'll probably have some things that, you know, I might have forgotten about during this review and things like that, but I think I covered it pretty well. Make sure to check out the transformation video as well. In terms of this guy's height, which I completely forgot. Forgive me, guys. It's been a month, it feels like, since I've reviewed something. 9¼ inches tall. We're going to get him right back into that cool pose. So, yeah. Thank you guys very much for watching, bearing through this with me, and glad to be back to doing this stuff. It's a fun aspect of the hobby, man. So, thank you guys who have still subscribed and are watching this stuff, man, and I look forward to providing more content later on.